Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. Today, we're headed to the Amazon. Well, not literally, but we're going to explore the peach palm.
Yeah, fascinating plant.
It really is. And I've got to say, I'm pretty intrigued by all this research and the historical accounts we've got here. We're going to uncover everything about this botanical marvel. I mean, from its nutrition to, well, its potential role in, a sustainable future. Where do we even begin?
Well, it's amazing to me how a plant that is so deeply, rooted in the past is now like emerging as a potential solution to like our biggest problems today, like climate change, food security.
Yeah, it's been cultivated for what, at least 4,000 years. It was like a staple food for so many indigenous cultures, and it was like a central part of their lives.
Yeah.
Then somewhere, somehow,
Right.
it just kind of vanished.
Right. When Europeans arrived, they brought new agricultural practices, and that led to a decline in a lot of native crops, including the peach palm. It's almost as if we just forgot about it.
It's crazy how that happens. But now it's making a comeback, and for good reason. And we're not just talking about food. We're talking timber, medicine, even, well, beetle larvae.
Oh yeah, the contacuros. They're a delicacy in some parts of the Amazon. Pretty interesting stuff.
Okay, we'll get to that. But first, like, what even is this thing?
So the peach palm, or Bactris gassipes kunth, is it's a palm tree native to the lowlands of Central and South America, and it's believed to have been first domesticated in the Bolivian Amazon
Okay, and around what time was that?
around the same time that sedentary communities were forming there.
So it's basically grown up alongside human civilization in the Amazon.
For millennia, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's quite a history.
I bet it's got some stories to tell. Speaking of stories, I noticed that the peach palm shows up in a lot of myths and legends from different indigenous cultures.
Right. It's often portrayed as like a gift from the gods, or sometimes even like a treasure stolen from another world.
And a lot of those stories I noticed, like from the Ashanika people in Peru to the Yucunamatapi in Colombia, they all kind of link the peach palm to maize. It's like they saw these two staple crops as almost like, I don't know, interconnected.
Yeah, definitely. Both of them were essential for their survival, and you see that reflected in their myths and stories.
It's really fascinating how these myths illustrate the deep connection between the people and the plants they depend on.
Yeah, it's not just a story. It's like it's an expression of their cultural identity.
That's a great point. And some communities are even, bringing these traditions back to life, like with those Trantá festivities,
Oh,
right?
right. It's becoming a form of cultural tourism, too.
Yeah, it's really cool. And speaking of history, the peach palm has a pretty impressive historical significance, right? It wasn't just food. It was like a status symbol. It even influenced language, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It was so highly valued by some groups that a Spanish chronicler actually wrote back in the 1500s that they held it in higher regard than almost anything except, well, their wives and children.
Wow, that's a pretty powerful statement.
It is. And the timber was also, highly prized, very durable, naturally thorny, perfect for building, for weapons, even musical instruments. The Spanish conquistadors, they even used it to build fortifications.
It's amazing to think that this one plant was literally shaping like the landscape and culture of the entire Amazon for centuries. So why did it kind of disappear? Like, what happened after the Spanish conquest?
Well, a lot of indigenous populations declined, and European farming practices kind of took over. A lot of native crops were replaced with European varieties, or just forgotten about.
Yeah, it's a shame, especially considering how versatile the peach palm is. We've talked about some of its uses, but can we go a little deeper? Like the timber, that's still used today?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you'll find peach palm wood in flooring, in furniture, even in musical instruments like marimbas.
Oh yeah, and the hearts of palm, right? That's a big one.
Right, right. And the peach palm is a much more sustainable source for hearts of palm than some other palm species.
How so?
Well, it's what's called cespitose, which means it has like multiple trunks. So you can harvest it carefully and it'll survive.
That's good to know.
Oh, okay.
So we've got the timber, the hearts of palm, but what about the fruit itself? Is that something you can just buy at the store?
Not really. Not yet anyway. But it has so much potential. It comes in all sorts of sizes and types. Some are starchier, some are oilier, and you can eat it cooked, roasted, dried, even made into flour for bread, pasta, puddings, you name it.
I'm starting to see why you're so excited about this peach palm. It's like you can use every single part of it.
And we're just scratching the surface. We haven't even talked about the oil, the medicinal uses of the roots, or those beetle larvae, the contocuros.
Chontacuros. Okay, I'm intrigued, but also a little, I don't know, apprehensive maybe. But before we get into all the culinary adventures, let's talk about the nutritional side of things. Like, is this peach palm actually good for you? What are we talking about here?
Oh, it's more than just good. The peach palm is like a nutritional tower house. We'll dive into that next.
Let's do it. Okay, so the peach palm, it's this like nutritional powerhouse. What's in it?
Yeah, so it's a great source of carbohydrates, lots of energy there, and fiber, good for digestion, keeps things moving.
Sure, sure. But what about protein? Does it have much of that?
Well, not as much as, say, beans or something, but it is a complete protein, so all 9 essential amino acids.
Okay, that's good. So even if it's not a like protein superstar, it can still, contribute.
Yeah, exactly. A balanced diet.
Speaking of balance, what about that oil? We were talking about how it's like similar to olive oil.
Right, lots of oleic acid in there, which is a healthy fat, good for the heart.
So we got energy, fiber, some protein, heart-healthy fats. What else is there?
One thing that really stands out, it's the antioxidants. Loads of carotenoids in the peach palm fruit pulp.
Carotenoids. Those are the things that give fruits and veggies their colors, right?
You got it. But they do way more than just that. They're powerful antioxidants.
Oh, tree.
They protect your cells from damage, like from free radicals and stuff.
Right, right. I've heard of those. So peach palm's got like beta-carotene, lycopene, all those.
Yep, all of those. It's a pretty colorful fruit, and that's a good sign.
Okay. So sounds like we got a good mix going on here. But you mentioned something earlier, biological activity. I don't know. What does that mean exactly?
It's basically how the stuff in food interacts with our bodies, like beyond just the basic nutrients.
So like how it affects our health.
Exactly. And researchers are finding some really interesting things about the peach palm.
Like,
Some evidence suggests it could help regulate blood sugar, and it might even have a role in lipid metabolism, how we process fats.
so it may be helpful for like diabetes or high cholesterol.
Potentially, yeah. But more research is definitely needed. Can't call it a miracle cure just yet.
Right, right. But still, it's promising. And speaking of research, what about the chemical makeup of the peach palm? What have scientists found?
Well, the peach palm fruit pulp, it's full of these things called phytochemicals, basically like plant compounds, esters, aldehydes, alcohols, all sorts of stuff, plus those carotenoids we talked about and the fatty acids, of course.
It's kind of amazing how something so seemingly simple, like a fruit, can be so complex.
It really is. And all of these compounds, they contribute to its flavor, its health benefits, everything.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Ancient myths, cutting-edge science, it's all connected. But where does the peach palm fit in today's world? Can something so old really help us build a sustainable future?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's exactly what we're going to explore next.
So we know this peach palm has like incredible potential, but it's also facing some serious threats. What can we even do? Like, how do we protect it and help it, thrive in the future?
Well, I think we got to focus on a few things. Conservation, making sure we're cultivating it sustainably and really putting some energy into research and development. We got to protect what we have, grow it responsibly, and keep exploring what it can do.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But can we break that down a little? Like when you say conservation, what does that actually look like?
Well, the first thing is we got to protect the existing peach palm populations, especially in places where, deforestation is happening or where their habitat is being lost. That might mean setting up protected areas or working with local communities, to manage forests sustainably. And we need policies that discourage deforestation, of course.
So it's kind of like a two-pronged approach, right? Protecting where it grows naturally and then working with people to make sure it's, harvested responsibly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about the number of trees, it's about genetic diversity too. We talked about how different varieties of peach palm have, different characteristics like how much starch or oil is in the fruit.
Right. And that diversity it's like essential for adapting to change,
Yeah.
And for developing new products.
Exactly. It's like having more options to work with. So conservation also means like collecting and preserving seeds from different different peach palm populations. It's kind of like an insurance policy,
Yeah.
for the future of the species.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Okay, so we're protecting existing populations. That's great. But we also got to make sure that the peach palm is like a viable crop for farmers, right?
Yeah.
And a product that people actually want.
Absolutely. And that's where sustainable cultivation comes in. One really promising approach is using agroforestry systems where you grow the peach balm alongside other crops.
So not just like, a big field of only peach palm.
Right. It's about creating a more diverse ecosystem, way better than monoculture farming.
Which can be pretty bad for the environment in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. So agroforestry, it's more natural, and it has all these benefits like more biodiversity, healthier soil, and this is a big one. It gives farmers multiple sources of income.
It's like a win-win for everyone, for the
Yeah.
farmers, for the environment, for the peach palm itself.
It's about creating a system that works for everyone, people and planet.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're protecting it, we're growing it sustainably, but what about the people who are going to, eat it? How do we get them excited about the peach palm?
Well, research and development are key here. We got to get creative, develop new products, think beyond the traditional uses, peach palm flour, oil, beverages, maybe even cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, who knows?
It's like we got to reimagine what food even means. I mean, we're talking about beetle larvae as a delicacy, right? So surely we can come up with some delicious and appealing, peach palm creations.
I think so too. And we got to make it easier for people to use too. Like, remember how we talked about needing to cook or ferment the fruit to get rid of those anti-nutrients? We got to find ways to streamline that process, make it more convenient.
Right. That would definitely make it more appealing to more people. So it sounds like the future of the peach palm, it's really about balance, right?
Right.
Protecting its habitat,
Right.
growing it sustainably, and finding new ways to use it. It's all connected.
Yeah, and I think it shows us that working with nature, not against it, is the way to go. It's the only way to find solutions that benefit everyone. And it makes me think about how important it is to rediscover those old ways of knowing, that traditional knowledge, and combine it with modern science. That's how we're going to build a more sustainable future.
That's a great point. And I think that's a perfect takeaway from our deep dive into the peach palm. I've learned so much, and I have to say I'm pretty amazed by this plant. It's a reminder that even with all the challenges we're facing, there's hope, there's innovation, and there's always more to learn from nature.
It's a story of resilience, of adaptability, of collaboration. And it leaves us with a question, can the peach palm, a plant with such deep roots in the past, can it really help us build a better future, a more sustainable future, a more just future?
I think it can. And on that note, thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep an open mind to all the wonders that surround us.
Goodbye.